Hello, my name is Lee and welcome to Journey of a Student Nurse. So in today's video I'm talking about sensory toys and sensory items and how these can help someone who is on the autistic spectrum, feel more relaxed, feel less stressed when they might be having a sensory overload or having an autistic meltdown. So I'm going to sort of jump in just a moment and show you what I use, to help me when I feel a bit stressed, a bit overloaded, and just all these things. And again, I'm going to say this is sort of my own opinion. What these things are, what I use, and everyone is different, and everyone will prefer different things. So, how does this whole thing work? Well, I've kind of broken my sort of sensory items down into sort of various categories. Kind of, you could almost say that like the level 1, level 2, and level 3. Well, level 1 being like the first line kind of thing where I will go to the most, second line items, and then third line items when things get really extreme, when I'm really overloaded, really stressed out, So that's kind of the sort of thing with that. So if you have watched the video I did previously where I talked about some of the Chew Agent products, you will have seen these little guys. So they're sort of hand fidget toy, which is this one here. And this is a great wee toy as it's kind of like it fits in the palm of your hand quite well. And it's kind of this soft sort of chewable rubber that they've got. And it's got a wee bit in the middle which can spin around. I don't know how well you can see it on the camera there, but it does spin, honestly. There, you can see it there. And it's great because I find this item great as I tend to keep this in my pocket of my jeans or on my jumper, or if I'm on placement or anywhere, I keep it in my pocket. Just so if I do feel a bit stressed, I've got something I can fidget about with my hand, I can just play about with it. And if I need to, I've got something I can chew on. I tend not to chew on this one as I find it's quite a firm chew, and I'm not always, a fan of just to chew that one because it can feel a bit sore in the mouth. But mainly I prefer to keep this one out my mouth and not chew it because I want to keep it in good condition where I can keep it about with my hands and play about with my hands and stuff. And I want to keep it in as good condition as I can. So this is kind of like what I call my stimmer, my go-to item. I literally go nowhere without this item now. There are days when I have forgotten it, but I tend to have backup items which I use, instead of this, which do help. So again, another of my first line will be this. It's the raindrop necklace from Chewy Gem. Now, this is one that I often end up calling the teardrop necklace in the previous video. So it's not a teardrop, it is a raindrop. And it is kind of in the sort of bluey, sort of purpley green colour. So it's hard to, I can't say, it's kind of like a pebble kind of colour. You might get at the seasides and like that washed pebble colour, which is quite nice actually. So I tend to either wear this kind of wrapped around my hand a wee bit or kind of have it around my neck, and it's something that I tend to chew quite a lot. And it's one that I go to quite a lot when I feel stressed and anxious, and I will sort of chew on it, that time and again. And I have used it when I do feel quite stressed, either sitting in class sometimes where I can feel quite overloaded in lecture theatre and it'd be a bit too much. I find chewing on this sometimes does help just to alleviate some of that stress. And when I am in quite bad sensory overload, I tend to really chew on this quite a lot, and it's kind of my main sort of item that I use all the time, as well as the wee sort of hand fidget. And I often say, as I said, I categorise these as sort of a first line sort of go-to for sort of everyday situations. So the next thing are in here. So this at the moment is just a plain sort of shopping bag that I have. So it's a cloth bag that I've been currently using for a while for, carrying around some of my sensory items. So I find this is a very good thing to have because I tend to carry a rucksack around all the time, and if I had these just lying about my rucksack, it would be kind of, if you're feeling stressed, overloaded, it'll make it longer to find what you need. So I find having everything in a one place in the bag really does help. And another benefit of this, it helps keep things clean as well. So you should be keeping your items clean anyway as best you can, like giving them a wipe with alcohol wipes or washing them in the basin with soap and water, things like that. But I tend to keep that all in here, as I said, just to keep it in one place. So, and I keep that in like the front pocket of my bag. And I have told friends and family, I've told my wife and some close friends where I've got these items in my bag, just if I need them. So, I mean, I'm not always too bad sometimes, but there are times when I need to go for some of these items, like sort of the level 3 items. So, before I talk about that, I kind of maybe sort of level 1/level 2 item are my ordinary headphones. These are the ones that I use every day and listen to music on my phone. So I find listening to music, especially when I'm in the supermarket or out and about, a really soothing way to help me. They're very soothing, they help me stay relaxed, and having these in, whether they are playing music or not, are very helpful just to help block out some of the sounds that you may get, whether that is being on the train or being in a big shop, say for example. It does help just to tune out some of the noise that you do get there. So I do find that quite beneficial, quite relaxing. So that's just something that I use. And on my phone, I've got a playlist of songs that I use when I'm feeling really stressed, and that's kind of like almost what I call my meltdown playlist or sensory overload. And I've got about 10 songs there at the moment that I really enjoy and I find really help me. And I tend to play songs and repeat a lot because I find it helps me focus on something, and it's a way of focusing on something to help me calm down. It's kind of almost like you've got that 5 things you can see kind of something you can use, and that's a different soothing technique altogether. But I find that quite useful as well. Anyway, sort of now into the bag, this is where a lot of the level 2 items do sit. So I tend to carry these around. I don't often carry them around, but they are sort of wee earplugs that are useful. Now, I don't tend to use them that often, as they can get a wee bit uncomfortable sometimes if you wear them for long periods of time. But I do certainly find them very useful. If I don't have my headphones, they can sometimes be useful. So because my wife is a singer and musician, I've been to some of her shows, and certainly I've worn them there a couple of times at the shows, and they really have helped me when I feel stressed and needing to relax. So ear defenders like that are very useful, and you can buy them off things like Amazon, eBay for under about £10 roughly. Found that quite useful. Sort of going into a sort of again maybe a level 1 item/level 2 is this wee hand fidget. Again, these are getting the craze in the market, and they're absolutely fantastic. So I got this when I was traveling back from London a few weeks ago, as my old one kind of, well, let's just say it's nearing the end of its life and it's just not looking too well for itself. It's just kind of, it was cheap when I got off Amazon and it wasn't as good quality. And this one is an amazing fidget cube. So it's kind of got things that you can kind of click, play around with, things you can spin, things that, spin, make a noise, press, and sort of play around. You've got like these wee bits here, like dials, kind of like soundboard dial kind of things, which are pretty cool. So again, I don't tend to use it that often, but when I was flying, I found this really useful. I could keep it in my hand and played around with it. Really useful tool. Again, it's not one that I often go to, but it's nice to have, just something to play with. And I really like it when they get the clicky bits because they're really firm and it's something really tactile about it. Really nice. And sort of going on to sort of the next sort of levels of things. I've got another couple of Chewy gem things. So I've got another sort of Chewy necklace again. And this is mainly a sort of a backup one if the other one was to get lost or broken, I've got that. But also it's different as well because it's, got different surfaces you can show, and it's got a thicker surface and it's got thinner ones as well. And I was talking about that in my other video, or the Chewy gem video. So I found that really helpful just as well sometimes. And a good example was when I was on placement the other day, I completely forgot my sort of normal sort of stim toy, the sort of hand fidget and the necklace. So I took this one out of my bag and I had that one with me for the day, as well as another wee thing that I have as well from Gem, and which is this wee bracelet here. I'm not very good with wearing bracelets. I find them quite uncomfortable, or things around my wrist certainly. So I find that its alternative use is a really good hand fidget as well, a hand toy as well you can play around with, as well as something you can chew, which is really nice. I find that one really nice as well. So I'm not going to talk about that too much because I've already shown that in a previous video. And sort of finally, I've got a couple of items here. So, and I've got these, which are ear defenders. Now, I got these from a shop a while back, and I find these, I've not used them that often actually, but I find having, these sort of ear defenders, these sound, not soundproof as such, but they certainly block out a lot of sound. Commonly, you might use these in shooting activities as they dull the sound of loud noises and things like that. But I find these are really useful as well, and they are super comfy as well, and not very slimline, but very comfortable nonetheless. And I find that they pack away very easily. They're bulky, but they're no wider than my hand really. So I find that really useful. And I've got a couple of other items as well that I use. And I don't know what made me want to buy these, but I found that these were useful and sort of things you can kind of get from just cheaply out of a supermarket. I can't remember where I got these, but these are sort of maybe more baby sort of toys. But again, something that you can something to play with in the hands, just to help soothe and relax as well. I've never actually really used these, to be honest. But again, I've certainly, something just to play with and something just to have something in the hand, something just to fidget with is always useful. And because they're plastic, you can kind of do differently. They're quite durable, quite tough. I wouldn't chew on these personally because they're going to destroy your teeth, but I find them really nice just to play with if you're just feeling a bit overwhelmed. So that is what I keep in my sort of sensory bag, if you like, and it's not a lot, but I've got other stuff that I have used in the past but don't use anymore. So I do hope that you have enjoyed this video, and hopefully this has been useful and insight what I use certainly. But hopefully it's been insightful and hopefully give you an idea of what you can use if you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed. Now, the best places to look are online, so places like the Gem website for the Gem stuff, as well as looking on eBay and Amazon for things like ear defenders, as well as other sensory toys as well as just looking in toy shops like the Entertainer, Smiths, and other shops as well, which are really useful as well for finding stuff as well. So you can find some really good bargains. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope it's been helpful in giving you a bit of an insight to what someone who has sensory processing issues might have in a sensory bag. So I hope that you've enjoyed it. So please, if you want to give this video a like, as it helps support the channel, and please subscribe for more great content and push the notification bell just to stay updated when I post a new video on the channel. So that's it from myself here, Lee, at Journey of a Student Nurse, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. So bye for now.